interesting religion that predated Christianity and Islam. And this religion is called Zoroastrianism. And I want you to look at this picture and think about what you think he's doing. Is he worshiping the fire? Is he worshiping something on the fire? Why does he have a cloth over his face? What's the setting where he is? What are those other things in the picture? So be thinking about what those are, but I also want you to realize that this is a religion that was quite popular 3,500 years ago and extended from Iran to Greece to Rome. It's one of the world's oldest living religions, meaning that it's still going on today. Their ideas are ideas which influenced Christianity, Islam, and Judaism, ideas of good and evil, the idea of heaven and hell existing, and also a supreme being. Now, the founder of this religion was Zoroaster, sometimes called Zarathustra, and for 1,000 years, Zoroastrianism was one of the most powerful religions in the world. It was the official religion of Persia from 600 BCE to 650 CE. It's now one of the world's smallest religions, and it only has probably around 125,000 followers, which is quite small considering that at its height it had 40 million different members. Now this is a picture of a symbol of Zoroastrian faith, and I want you to take a good look at it. You may have seen it somewhere else, but you may not have known what it represented. This is interesting because a lot of it is very symbolic. So if you look closely, you'll see that he's holding a ring in his hand, and there's a ring under his arm, and what it means is the man himself is considered to represent the human soul. One hand is extended out in blessing to keep in mind the path to heaven. The other hand holds the ring of promise, and the 3 layers of feathers represent good thoughts, good words, and good deeds, which is very important to Zoroastrians. And then the central circle, the bigger one, represents eternity and has 2 ribbons coming out from it, which show the choices good and evil. You have 2 choices for how you're going to live your life. Now the founder, as I said, was Zarathustra. He started talking about one God, and that was very, very unusual at that time. People believed in many gods. And so he began this religion. Today, the majority of people that believe in Zoroastrianism live in India, and they're known as the Parsis. Now, he and others at this time, at the founding, developed 17 hymns, or gathas, and they're the oldest part of the sacred text, the Avesta. The one true God is called Ahura Mazda, and he's considered wise, he's considered eternal goodness. They believe that he had twins, and the twins, good and evil, the hostile spirit, or Shaitan, which is related to the Hebrew name Satan, and then the beneficent spirit, and that was the good spirit. And they figured at this time Earth was seen as a battleground between good and evil, and this went on, this struggle went on, and the purpose of your life was to live a good life and try to make the right choices. This religion also had the idea of Judgment Day, and this idea, which was a new idea at the time, was that you would be judged according to everything you did in your lifetime, and obviously the good would have good things happen to them in paradise, and the others would have a terrible life of torment. They called heaven the house of best purpose, and their hell was called worst existence. And each person must pass through the bridge of the separator, which crosses over an abyss of horrible torment, but it leads to paradise. And ethical records are read of each person, and the good get to pass on, and the evil are cast down into the abyss. One last thing I wanted to mention was Zarathustra. He was the son of a priest, kind of in a rural area, and he grew up believing in many gods. That's what everyone believed at that time, and lived a very traditional life centered around agriculture. When he was 30 years old, he had a religious experience. An angel called Good Thought appeared and brought him before Ahura Mazda, the wise Lord. And Zarathustra at this point recognized him as the one true God and then started preaching his message. So in this religion, as we'll see in other religions, there was a religious experience of the founder that created something so that he could share with others in the religion. Another similarity between Zoroastrianism and Christianity, and in the background you see Zarathustra's picture, is that they believed, Zarathustra hinted at the possibility of a savior who would come and restore goodness to the world. And people believed that this influenced Judaism and its belief in the coming of the Messiah. Zoroastrians believe that action is what's most important. They work hard to improve their community. They pray several times a day. They do not have celibacy or monks. They do have priests, but the priests are married. And man is seen as God's helper. And man will help create paradise on earth. All men and women are considered equal. And more emphasis is placed on ethics than ritual. Remember the picture of the symbol, good thoughts, good words, good deeds. So that's very important. One interesting note, Cyrus the Great, who founded the first Persian Empire in 549 BC, he followed Zoroastrianism, but he didn't impose it on his followers. And he's the one that let the Jews return to Jerusalem from being exiled, and he considered that his good deed. And it was recorded on a cylinder that's in museums, in a museum today to mark that. Okay, now one of the most unique things about this is, well, first of all, they have, as a 7-year-old, and there's a picture in your book, of a 7-year-old in his initiation ceremony where they receive a white shirt and a long cord. It's wrapped around them 3 times to symbolize good thoughts. But this other ritual of theirs involving funerals is quite unique. They have a Tower of Silence, and Tower of Silence is where they believe the vultures will pick the bones clean of dead bodies, and they sweep the bones into the central well. And they believe that humans, once you die, that you're supposed to be put at the Tower of Silence, and this is supposed to happen to you so that you don't pollute, your body doesn't pollute the sacred soil or fire in burning. And if you Google this, you can find some information on it. But today, sometimes they use metal structures encased in cement. In the old days, they might leave it on a hilltop, and the Tower of Silence was kind of recreated there. And one thing to remember is they do pray 5 times a day, which, as you will find out, that has influenced Islam to pray 5 times a day, some people believe. And remember, they do not worship fire itself, but it's only worshipped as a symbol of the purity of Ahura Mazda.